Welcome everyone to the College Board released SAT practice test number 9. Today I will walk you through section 3, the no calculator section. And just as a quick reminder, I have marked timestamps in the description below of all 20 questions and when they occur in the video, so you can hop around, jump around, find what questions you need help with. So let's jump right into it. So for the system of equations above, what is the value of x plus y? So I see here that if I multiply my first equation by 2, then I'll get my y variables in both equations to have the same coefficient and different signs. So if I do that, I get 4x minus 2y equals 16, and then I keep my second equation, x plus 2y equals 4. Now I can add my equations together and solve for x. So 5x, the 2y and negative 2y cancel out, equals 20. Divide both sides by 5, x equals 4. I can now plug back in 4 into my original equation. I'll pick the second equation for simplicity. So 4 plus 2y equals 4. Subtract 4 from both sides. 2y equals 0. Dividing both sides by 2, we get y equals 0. So x plus y is 4 plus 0, or just 4. Number 2, which of the following is equivalent to 2 times x squared minus x plus 3 times x squared minus x? So that's 2x squared minus 2x after I distribute the 2 to both these terms. Then I'll distribute the 3, so that's plus 3x squared minus 3x. Combine my like terms, 5x squared minus 2x minus 3x minus 5x. That gets us A. Number 3, which of the following statements is true about the graph of the equation 2y minus 3x equals negative 4 in the xy plane? So I'm going to isolate my y, so 2y. Going to add 3x to both sides. 2y equals 3x minus 4. I'm going to divide everything by 2 to get y by itself. So y equals 3 over 2x minus 4 over 2, which is just 2. And so now I need to start figuring out which one of my choices matches my equation. So I have a positive slope and a negative y-intercept, which aligns with D. So 3 is D. Number 4, the front of a roller coaster car is at the bottom of a hill and it's 15 feet above the ground. If the front of the roller coaster car rises at a constant rate of 8 feet per second, which of the following equations gives the height h in feet of the front of the roller coaster car to s seconds after it starts up the hill? So we can first recognize our initial condition, which is where we started from. And we are 15 feet above the ground, so we must see a plus 15 somewhere. So that actually eliminates everything except for A. And just to double check, we are going at a constant rate of 8 feet per second. So 8 must have the variable attached to it, as A does. Number 5, the equation above gives the amount of C in dollars an electrician charges for a job that takes H hours. Miss Sanchez and Mr. Rowland each hired this electrician. The electrician worked 2 hours longer on Miss Sanchez's job than on Mr. Rowland's job. How much more did the electrician charge Miss Sanchez than Mr. Rowland? So let's say that the electrician worked for 1 hour for Mr. Rowland. That would be 75 times 1 plus 125, or 75 plus 125 to get 200. And now the electrician worked 2 hours longer on Ms. Sanchez's job. So Ms. Sanchez has 3 hours, for example, which is 75 times 3 plus 125, which is 150. Sorry, not 150, 225 plus 125, or an additional $150 because 225 plus 125 is 350, and that's 150 more than 200. Number 6, the circle above has a center O. The length of arc ADC is 5 pi, and x equals 100. What is the length of arc ABC? So we want to find out this arc when given that this arc right here is 5 pi, and the angle that made it was 100 degrees. So we can set up a proportion. 100 degrees over 5 pi equals, well, there's 360 degrees in a circle, so this angle here must be 260, because 360 minus 100, so 260 over, we don't know, so we'll call that variable y. Now we can cross multiply, so we get 100y equals 260 times 5, that is 1,300 pi, dividing by 100 on both sides to isolate y, we get y equals 1,300 pi divided by 100. You can cross out these zeros, leaving you with 13 pi. Number 7, if 8 over x equals 160, what is the value of x? So we have 8 over x equals 160. We can multiply both sides by x. Cancel that here. 8 equals 160x divided by 160 on both sides. And we see that x equals 8 over 160, which is a fraction, so it's less than 1. So the only choice between a, b, c, d that's less than 1 is d. So 7 is d. Number 8 in the equation above, a is a constant. If no value of x satisfies the equation, what is the value of a? So we're looking for no value of x that satisfies the equation, or no solution. And what no solution typically means is same slope, right? So equal slope, but different y-intercept. And so what that means is we want the same number, the same coefficient in front of the x term, but different constant terms. So let's see how we can do that. So 2ax minus 15 equals, now we will distribute our 3 to both to x and 5, 3x plus 15, and 5 to both x and negative 1, plus 5x minus 5. So 2ax minus 15 equals 8x plus 10. So we already can see that we have different constant terms. Now all we need is just the same coefficient in front of the x term. So 2a equals 8, because we want these to be the same, so a equals 4. Number 9, a system of 3 equations is graphed in the xy plane. How many solutions does the system have? So solutions in a system of equations means that all of the equations must be equal at that point, not just 2, as in, for example, this point right here only intersects at 2 of the equations. But this point here is the only one where all 3 points intersect. So there's one solution to this system. The equation above is true for all x, where a and b are constants. What is the value of a, b? So we have to distribute in this left-hand side of the equation. So we're going to first distribute the ax to the 5x squared, negative bx, and the 4, which gives us 5ax cubed minus abx plus 4ax. And then we can distribute this 3 to the 5x squared, negative bx, and the 4, which gives us minus 3bx plus 15x squared plus 12. And so writing our given, what this is equal to, we see that, let's see, we see that there's only one x cubed term, and so we know that 5a must equal 20. So, dividing both sides by 5, we get a equals 4. And now, we know that we have two x squared terms. We have, let's see, where was that? We have this ax times negative bx should be squared. Sorry about that. We have a negative abx squared term and a 15x squared term. And we equal a negative 9. So we know that 15 minus AB equals a negative 9. 15 minus 4 times B, since A is 4, equals negative 9. Subtract 15 from both sides. We get that, make some room real quick, we get that negative 4B equals a negative 24. Dividing both sides by negative 4, we get B equals 6. And what is A times B? That's what the value of that's what the question is asking. A is 4, B is 6, so C is 24. Number 11, which of the following represents all the possible values of x that satisfy the equation above? So we're going to multiply both sides by x minus 3 to get rid of this fraction on the left-hand side. Get rid of that denominator, I should say. So x equals 2x times x minus 3 over 2. You can distribute this 2x. X equals 2x squared minus 6x all over 2. Dividing each term by 2, we get x equals x squared minus 3x. Now I'm going to subtract. Let's see, now I'm going to subtract x from both sides. So we get minus x, x squared minus 4x equals 0. I can pull out an x from both of these terms, so x times x minus 4 equals 0. And whenever you have, for example, an x by itself, that's always a solution of 0. So it's not C or D. And then x minus 4 equals 0. We've got to set all of our factors equal to 0. Plus 4 both sides, x equals a positive 4. So we have 11 as B. Number 12, which of the following is equivalent to the expression above for x is greater than 0? So it says x is greater than 0, so let's just say that x, for example, equals 3. I could pick anything, but I chose 3. So solving 1 over 2 times 3 plus 1 plus 5 is 1 over 6 plus 1, so 1 over 7 plus 5, or 1 over 7 plus a 35 over 7. I just rewrote 5 with a denominator of 7 to get 36 over 7 is when you plug in 3 for this expression. So now all I have to do is figure out which four of the 4 choices equals my target answer, or 36 over 7, when I plug in 3. And so I find out eventually that it is D, because 10 times 3 plus 6 over 2 times 3 plus 1 equals 36 over 7. Number 13, the graph of the function f in the xy plane above is a parabola. Which of the following defines f? So we know that let's see, so all these 4 choices are in vertex form. And so we know that our vertex is 3, 1. So the x is going to have a different sign than what you expect. So it'll be x minus 3 squared, so it can't be b and it can't be d. Remember, because if you have x minus 3 and that's a factor, thinking of it like a factor, setting it equal to 0, and then solving, you flip the sign. And now we have to figure out if A or C is the choice. And so the only difference is that we have a 4 and a 1 on the outside of A and C. So to figure out, we can find the slope between the adjacent points, which is this 4, 5, for example. So our rise, we go up 4. So we go up 4, and then we go over 1. So we go up 4 in the vertical direction and 1 in the horizontal direction. So our slope is 4, which means that we put a 4 out in front of our vertex form equation. So 13 is A. Number 14, In which of the following does the shaded region represent the solution set in the xy plane to the system of inequalities above? So first we see, I'm going to label this a different color. First equation I'll label as orange. So in all the graphs, this orange line represents our y is greater than or equal to x plus 2 because it's a positive slope and a 2y intercept. And so because it's y is greater than or equal to, because it's greater than, we have to shade above this line. So any choices that don't have any shading above are incorrect. So A and D are wrong because there's no shading above this line. Only in B and D, or B and C, for example, is there shading there and shading there. Now we have to rewrite our second equation, which I'll put in this green color. So we're going to get y by itself, so I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. So 3y less than or equal to 6 minus 2x. Divide everything by 3, y equals 2 minus 2 over 3x. So not equals, less than or equal to. And so it must have shading below its line. So we see that it's this line, for example, in all the choices, so it must be shading this way. And the only, between B and C, the only graph that has both shading below our second equation and above our first one is B. There's a shared region right here, which doesn't exist in C. Number 15, what is the set of all solutions to the equation square root of x plus 2 equals negative x? So we can solve. So square root of x plus 2 equals negative x, so we square both sides. That's x plus 2 equals x squared. Move all the terms over to the x squared side, so x squared minus x minus 2 equals 0. I'm going to factor. So numbers that multiply to get to 2 and add to get negative 1. X minus 2 times x plus 1. If factoring confuses you, please, I would highly recommend that you check on how to factor, because it's a very, very important skill. So let's see. Now we have x minus 2 times x plus 1. So our answers are going to be x equals 2 and x equals a negative 1, because you got to solve for the inside of all these factors. So now we have to check our answers to make sure they're actually correct. So plugging in 2, we get square root of 2 plus 2 equals negative 2, which is square root of 4, which is 2, equals negative 2, which is not true. So it's not A or C. Plugging in negative 1, we get square root of negative 1 plus 2 equals a negative 1. So square root of negative 1 plus 2 is just a 1. So square root of 1 is 1 equals negative 1. So it's a positive because 2 negatives make a positive. So 1 equals 1. So negative 1 is our answer. Just to reiterate, this negative rule always applies. It's a very useful trick. When you have negative, I like to just draw a plus sign through it. That always reminds myself of that fact. Number 16, what is the volume as cubic centimeters of a right rectangular prism that has a length of 4 centimeters and a width of 9 centimeters and a height of 10 centimeters? So this is a right rectangular prism, so we're going to do length times width times height. So 4 times 9 times 10 gets us 360. Number 17, if x satisfies the equation above, what is the value of 2x plus 1? So we can actually apply a little bit of a trick. Because we know that 4x plus 2 equals 4, we can actually divide this whole equation by 2 to get our 2x plus 1. So dividing everything by 2, we get 2x plus 1 equals 2. So 2x plus 1 equals 2. Number 18, the figure above shows the complete graph of the function f in the xy plane. The function g, not shown, is defined by g of x equals f of x plus 6. What is the maximum value of the function g? So maximum just means highest. right? Highest value. And our f of x function, the highest, is right here, which is at y equals 2. And since g of x is just f of x plus 6, we're going to add 6 to that. So our highest is 8. The highest is just the highest point reached, and we saw that right here. Number 19, triangle PQR has right angle Q. If sine R equals 4 over 5, what is the value of tangent P? So we can draw out our triangle. This is angle Q because it's the right angle. And we can label it PQR. And so we know that sine of R, so we have SOHCAHTOA, so sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So here's R, opposite of R over hypotenuse, 4, 5. Now the question wants the value of tangent P. Well, tangent P, we don't know this side length, but we do because we can remember our Pythagorean triples. If I have a right triangle and I see side lengths 4 and 5, automatically we know that the other side length is length 3, because 3, 4, 5 right triangle is a Pythagorean triple. If you see any two of these side lengths, you can know the other third. So x equals 3, and you can check this with the Pythagorean theorem. 3 squared plus 4 squared equals 5 squared. And so we know that tangent of P, tangent is opposite over adjacent. So here's P, so opposite over adjacent, so 3 over 4. Number 20, the last question. The graph of the linear function f is shown in the xy plane above. The graph of the linear function g, not shown, is perpendicular to the graph of f and passes through the point 1, 3. What is the value of g of 0? So let's first find the equation of f of x. We know that the y-intercept is 3, and our slope is we rise 2 and go over to the left 1. So it's up 2, left 1, so negative 1. So our equation is y equals negative 2x plus 3 because of our y-intercept. And we're told that graph linear function g is perpendicular. And so perpendicular means that the slopes are opposite reciprocal. So a different sign, and you flip the number. So we have a point as well of function g, so we can use our point slope form, or y minus y1 equals slope times x minus x1. So y minus 3 equals our slope. Our slope is negative reciprocal, or opposite reciprocal. So different sign, and then flip 2. So if 2 flipped is 1 over 2. It's positive because of the opposite part, times x minus 1 because of our point 1, 3. And now we're asked to find the value of g of 0. So we plug in 0 for x here, getting y minus 3 equals 1/2, 0 minus 1, or simply y minus 3 equals, so 0 minus 1 is negative 1, times 1/2 is negative 1/2, plus 3 to both sides, we get y equals 2.5. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, please leave a like. If you really enjoyed this content and you want to see more, please subscribe. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below. I will make sure to answer it, either in an upcoming video or in a short channel that I'm thinking of starting soon. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll be uploading more of these in the coming days, so have a nice day.